Jetsurf Bindings. What binding suits you best? Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Rod here, Jetboard Australia. We've got a well-asked topic we're going to run through today, and that's bindings. A lot of customers ask me what the right bindings are for them and what suits them best. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the different models of all the type of bindings, what bindings will fit each model because they're interchangeable, and give you a good overview of the best one that will suit you. Alrighty, let's get started. So basically there's three different styles of binding on the modern boards, which you have your dual bindings you see here on this Adventure. You have your race binding, which is on the race board, and then of course there's the titanium Ratchet heel-up binding, which you see on the titanium boards. We're going to get started with the Adventure. The Adventure board, very, very popular. It has the dual binding setup. So basically what you have is a board that's compatible for people to jump on without changing the bindings over between goofy and natural. So obviously, 1 foot, one here, and the opposite way around, 1 foot, one here. So the idea behind that, nice and simple, great for the family. Anyone can jump on it and just use it. Very, very simple. Now, of course, a lot of people buy these adventure boards, which are great boards to get started, and then what they want to do is improve the way they ride the board and get more feel of how the board operates. The best thing to do then is upgrade something like this to either a race or a titanium binding. But we'll get into that a little bit later. We'll move on to the race and we'll show you what that's all about. Okay, just moving along. So here we are. This is your race board with the race style bindings. So basically what it is an individual binding, which obviously for your front and rear foot. Now, the beauty with this style of binding is it's interchangeable. So say for example, you're riding and this is set up as a goofy and you want to ride natural. Basically all you do is unbolt the bindings and swap them into the other position. So from here to there, from here to there. Pretty simple. So the binding itself and all the bindings on these boards are somewhat interchangeable, and we'll go into a little bit more detail about that. But say for example you have an adventure board, which we see in front of us here, and you want to change to the race style bindings. The top pieces are the same. So you can buy a set of race bases, use the bindings off your adventure board and pop them on top. Simple changeover. Okay, so we've moved over to the titanium, and as you can see, the titanium has the best bindings you can possibly get. So what you've got is a ratchet top binding, which obviously you can release and then ratchet up to suit your foot. So the idea is with that type of binding, you release it before you start, you jump on the board, you get into your rider position, and you bend down and you lightly pull that into position. And some people like them nice and tight, so they're really firm. Other people like them a little looser so they can get out. So you can alter that to suit your needs. Then from there, you've got the same setup on the rear, of course, but then the bases become a completely different ball game. So you've got what they call a heel up, and as you can see, there's a kicker on there, and the rear's got a kicker and a side piece as well. So I use these style of bindings on my board, and in fact, I have a cruiser style board. The cruiser comes with the standard dual bindings on it, which is great. I've swapped them over to the heel up ratchet bindings like this. So what I do is I set it up so my heel sits right in the corner of the heel up there. And as far as the front goes, you've got some movement there as far as your heel goes to the back. They've got this beautiful little toe, I guess, edge on there. So basically when your foot goes in, your toes actually curl over the edge and you can actually grip with your toes on that edge. That's fantastic. And to add with that, what they've done is put an adjustable base on it. As you can see here by these bolts, this base can swivel this way and it can slide on the lower part of the base back this way. So what we find with ladies and people that are shorter, we can bring the bindings closer together and then also orientate the bindings so that you've got a nice comfortable feel on that style of board. So anyway, that's what they're all about. Now, as far as changing these around goes, this particular style of binding isn't interchangeable between goofy and natural. to swap this around, you've actually got to change the whole setup. So the tops are actually designed to go a certain way, so when you lean down and ratchet the binding up, you can reach it with your hand. And the heel ups, as you can see, are different. So you can't interchange these from goofy to natural. You buy these as a set, whether it be natural or goofy, and then you put them in place. Where the race bindings, as I said before, will interchange side to side. So that's the basics there. Let's get into how you can swap these around and the best way to put these together. Alrighty, now let's get into how we can interchange these and what works best on best boards. There are a few traps. The stud pattern on all of the bindings is exactly the same. It's the same PCD, if you want to call it. The difference being in a lot of the boards is this front binding here. Now, this style of binding is available on the Adventure and the Cruiser boards. Unfortunately though, this particular front binder has about 3 different versions of it, depending on the models, and especially if you go back to your GP100s, which are an earlier board again as well. So, say for example, you wanted to put a set of dual bindings on a race, the ones that are on the Adventure won't fit on as far as the bases go. The tops are all the same, as we talked about before, they're all interchangeable. This base piece won't go on. What you need is a base piece off the Cruiser DFI. The Cruiser DFI base fits onto the race board, and as you can see, if you have a look closer, the bolt pattern here and here, the bolts are so much closer together, and the angle's slightly steeper as well. So just be careful when you're doing interchange there. So what a lot of guys will do, in most cases, buy an Adventure like this. Their riding ability gets better, they want more control, so they'll switch over to your race style bindings, which is a fairly inexpensive exercise. You just got to buy 2 of the bases, use your tops as you have in the past, and away you go. And of course, the next step would be, if you want better bindings again, is jump into the titanium style bindings. So what most guys do is they basically buy the ratchet top and the heel up base, and that will bolt on as it sits there. Or if you want to go to one step further again, you can buy the swivel bases. It's not a cheap exercise, but well worth the effort if you're going to do a lot of long distance riding, a lot of riding in the surf, that sort of stuff. So that's a good alternative. Okay, so let's do a little recap. Just go, you've got a rough idea where we're at. So dual bindings come on the Adventures and also come on the Cruiser DFIs. The race style bindings come on the race board, which obviously interchange very easily. That's a very simple one to do. And then you've got your heel up ratchet bindings, which you'll see on the titaniums, and you also see them on the Adventure Plus boards. They don't have the swivel bases, but they have the ratchet tops and bases. So pretty much 3 levels of bindings, 3 levels of control, nice and easy, good control, and locked in and really good feel of the board as far as the ratchets go. All interchangeable between each board. You can move them around. The only trap is this front V binding on the dual binding if you wanted to put it on say a race or a titanium or on a Cruiser, which has that standard anyway. So that's the basis, all interchangeable. I can give you some advice on that as well, what would suit you best. And a lot of guys will have a couple of sets of bindings. They'll have the dual bindings if they're out with family, and then they'll throw on the race bindings or the ratchet bindings when they're riding themselves or out in the surf. So great options there. So guys, I appreciate you watching again. It's a nice simple video, this one, but something that needed to be looked at, touch base on. A lot of questions I get on this from time to time. Anyway, please subscribe to my channel. I love doing these videos for you guys. I love the sport and I want to do more of it. So anyway, help us out, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.